if one industry is prospering at the cost of the economy, that industry is, of course, you can say is doing great. But for me, the economy is not doing great because the economy is suffering because of that industry. It's like, I'm on a ship and there are first class cabins and second class and third class cabins. And the first class cabin people, of course, the captain is their man. And they pull out nuts and bolts from the ship to strengthen the first class cabin.
I always say I am not chairman of Angel Association of Pakistan.
There is a high-rise building law in Karachi which is actually a lawless law. It's an illegal law.
In fact, I would honestly say that ABAD or this industry has underperformed due to a lot of taxation and the regulatory environment prevailing in Pakistan. Yes, we all think and we all dream of creating affordable housing, but we can't do affordable housing on our own until and unless the government comes up with their land bank.
The state came to a decision, conscious or unconscious, I don't know, that they will turn this economy into a casino economy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Money. I'm your host Fatima Attarwala. I don't know if you've ever seen 90s Bollywood movies, but in that you also had an angry young man, Sunil Shetty, Amitabh Bachchan, and you had an evil builder who would want to basti ko flat karke apartments create karne hote the. So I think our perception of builders has always been a mafia, don, evil villain kind. Recently in the budget, the FY27 budget that was passed, it seemed that there is not much offered to any sector except for construction. So we have two very special guests today. We have senior economist Kaiser Bengali sir, who has also been an advisor to the government several times, and we have ABAD representative, the Association of Builders and Developers Chairman Hassan Bakshi sir. So today the debate is going to be, are builders what we think we are? Does the government favor the real estate and the builders and developers sector, or is the truth somewhere in the middle? Hello sir, welcome to the show.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum Assalam. So I think sir, if I were to start with you, some time ago in a conference you said that the budget is an ABAD budget. What made you say that?
You see, you said there are, everybody thinks of ABAD as villains. I don't think them as villains. We all behave according to our external conditions. If there is a nail in my shoe, I'll limp. Remove the nail, I'll won't limp. So every player in the system, whether it's economy or elsewhere, they are playing according to the environment. If the macroeconomic framework is such that it allows one or two or three sectors to prosper at the cost of others, then you don't term these one or two or three sectors as villains. It's not that they don't have a responsibility, because this macroeconomic framework is made and they have a very heavy input into it. In fact, the control over it. You see, so you don't absolve them of blame. They are responsible. But I don't think we should see them in terms of angels and devils. I think that's not the way to do it. So I don't do that. For the last 40 years, not just 1 or 2 years, the state came to a decision, conscious or unconscious, I don't know, that they will turn this economy into a casino economy, where money will be made out of speculation. And over time, about half a dozen plus sectors have been the favorite sectors, where a lot of money is made, and real estate is one of them. The whole macroeconomic structure that has been created is and we see that. We see investment flowing into real estate. We see investment flowing out of industry into real estate. You see? So this is what macroeconomic policy has done. But that doesn't mean real estate are villains. They are fools. But their responsibility is that there are very, very powerful real estate players, more powerful than ABAD, who make policy.
So, as I think Kaiser Bengali pointed out, there are players more powerful than ABAD. You came on my podcast earlier and you pointed out that a lot of builders have been targeted because of the people's assumption that they have money. And it had become so bad that you had to go on different shows and highlight that you yourselves, the builders, are under threat. We have the formal economy of builders and then we have the informal economy. ABAD, as I understand, represents the formal economy. But Kaiser Bengali sir did say that there is a very strong input of stakeholders from the construction sector. So what would you say to that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you for inviting me. I'm proud as a member of ABAD and chairman ABAD that all these strong members are also part of ABAD. We've got a sitting federal minister, Aleem Khan Saab. He's member of ABAD. Saad Rafiq Saab, who used to be the railway minister in the previous provincial federal government of Nawaz Sharif Saab, is a member of ABAD. Ejaz Gohar Saab who used to be the interior minister in the interim setup. Alhamdulillah, he is member of ABAD. Arif Habib Saab, who just bought PIA, he's member of ABAD. Akhil Karim Dedi Saab, who's a big known in the industry and he's more into stocks and other things, but he's also a member of ABAD, you name it. So we've got high net worth people, he's right, and they are all members of ABAD. Whoever is doing regulated work in Sindh specially and in Pakistan in general. I say Sindh specially because here it is mandatory to become member of ABAD. Lucky one, Tabba family is member of ABAD. So he's right, we have got very strong sons, very well placed, playing their role in the economy and trying to share the burden of the economy as well. However, I also read Mr. Bengali's statement. A lot of things has been given to the construction industry in this particular budget, whereas I feel a lot of things still needs to be given. What has been given to us in this budget? There were two taxes, which was section 236C, which somebody who sells the property has to pay an advance tax, which was reduced to half, and section 236K. When somebody buys, that includes you and him as well. Whoever buys the property has to pay an advance tax, which is adjustable at the time of filing of return. So those advance taxes has been reduced to half. If it was previously 4%, now they have come to 2%. However, at the time of the return, my tax liability comes to a higher place. I have to repay that. I have to pay that amount, the balance amount. Why we say we are in important industry in this Pakistan? Because World Bank says there is a shortage of 12 million houses. Then we say that 72 allied industries are attached with us, cement, steel, pipe, tiles, so on and so forth. We say we are the second largest provider of employment in Pakistan after agriculture. We say we are the only industry where the buyer is Pakistani, where the builder, his labor, his supervisor, his manager, his contractors are all Pakistani. As of today, either Pakistani, as I said earlier, local Pakistani or the expatriate Pakistanis are the buyer. The land is Pakistani, and this is how this business is going on. In fact, I would honestly say that ABAD or this industry has underperformed due to a lot of taxation and the regulatory environment prevailing in Pakistan. I 100% agree with Kaiser Bengali Saab that we have to navigate our ships in the given environment, and this environment is not created by us, ABAD. This is the environment which is going on in Pakistan since so many years. So we have to navigate our ships and move forward. This is what we are doing. That is somehow, somewhere it is bringing a questionable or bad name to us as well. Because if we, I always say I am not a chairman of Angel Association of Pakistan. Yes, we have got good people, we have bad people. Malik Riaz was our member as well. Malik Riaz was, Bahria Town was a member as well. So we have big people now. Nadeem Riaz, he's constructing malls in Islamabad now, 16 million square feet. 16 malls and service apartment, residential apartment. He created the best mall in Karachi, Dolmen, where everybody who comes to Karachi as a guest travels to Karachi is taken to Dolmen to showpiece that. He has created one of the best malls in Lahore recently, which was inaugurated last year. So, I mean, this industry has contributed its share in the economy.
So, would you like to comment on what Hassan sir said?
Well, I'm not going to take names, but his whole list of people who are very powerful people in government.
But then, in his defense, I would say that every sector has a whole list of people who are powerful. Yeah. And they're the same players are in every sector because they are the only ones who have the money.
Till Donald Trump became president, it was conventional in the US that whoever becomes president will stay out of their own business, and they did stay out. In Pakistan, there is no such law. And I'm old enough, I have a 40-year plus of experience, and not just experience sitting in my room in the university and doing research. I've been part of committees, and 2008 onwards, I've been in and out of government. I know what kind of leverage these people use for their own industry. For example, the oil industry. I mean, there was a minister for petroleum who promoted his own company and his industries. We've seen it happen. Textile industry does that a lot.
Textile industry takes it up against tariffs, but they have their own IPP.
So ये कहना कि जी अभी सही है, ये बहुत सारे आपने नाम लिए, ये बहुत इनकी कंपनी अच्छी है, काम करते हैं, लेकिन by being the dominant voice, they are there. You see, we actually come from very different perspectives. Yours is a micro perspective, the industry. Mine is a very macro perspective. I look at the whole economy. You see, if one industry is prospering at the cost of the economy, that industry is, of course, you can say is doing great. But for me, the economy is not doing great because the economy is suffering because of that industry. It's like, I'm on a ship and there are first class cabins and second class and third class cabins. And the first class cabin people, of course, the captain is their man. And they pull out nuts and bolts from the ship to strengthen the first class cabin. The cabins look nice and safe and secure. But if the ship sinks, everybody sinks. So I come from that perspective. Okay. You very rightly pointed out these malls that are coming up. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that a country where half the population is below the poverty line, you are building these elite malls. I'm ashamed at all the housing colonies that are coming up which offer golf courses and running tracks and swimming pools. I'm ashamed that this country is offering these things. Of course, you're the private sector, and this is what capitalism does. You will invest where there is profit, and rightly so. There's nothing wrong with that, because the private sector will only respond to purchasing power. You will produce something just if there is a buyer. If there is an island where 1% of the population can eat a lot of foreign ice cream, Movenpick and which other foreign ice cream? Baskin Robbins and others. You will set up that factory because that's where the sale will be. If all the children on that island are without shoes, we will not make a shoe factory because nobody can buy shoes. So this is what capitalism is. But the state is not there to give an opportunity to certain group of people to make money. The state is there for the welfare of the entire people. Do you know, sir, that there is such a huge shortage of housing for the poor and lower middle class? I do a lot of surveys. Over the last 30 years, I've done household surveys. In Karachi and Lahore, there are 20 families to a room. the average.
What?
20 families to a room. They don't sleep inside. They just keep that stuff in
20
the room.
families to a room.
Sorry, 20 persons.
20 people to a room.
20 persons to a room
Okay.
and sleep outside. There is no housing. There are women in, say, Neelam colony here who live in one-room houses, and these houses have no windows. There's a huge shortage of housing for the poor. We met at a seminar that you had organized some years back. And I did raise this point that the world sees the builders as villains, because a lot of people have lost money. I am being one of them. Booked something, it disappeared. You drive around Karachi, there are buildings 3 years old, there are patches of
Green.
in it because the plumbing is leaking. The quality of housing is very poor. You find buildings half built and left. You're next to Creek Vista. And I आधा छोड़ दिया. Whoever had booked the money, they've lost it. And as I said, I'm one of the persons who lost money. So I had then said that ABAD should become a stamp for quality and reliability. Whoever is a member of ABAD, their product must be guaranteed in some ways. You see, ABAD is not that today, but that you can do. I had also, when Mohtharma Benazir Bhutto was assassinated, I had a chat. I was very close to her, and I was very close to, subsequently to that, I was very close to Asif Zardari sir. And he asked me, what should we do? And I told him construction. Because as you rightly said, the construction industry promotes 30 to 40 other industries. But what construction has done, they've gone into elite housing. There is no demand for elite housing. As an economist, I'm telling you, there's no demand for elite housing. People are buying houses just for speculation, buy and sell. The poor has no housing. The middle class has no housing. So I think, yes, of course, construction is very important. I also had a chance to work in Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan in the year 2000. Every city was ruins. Kabul, the entire Kabul city was ruins. Mazar Sharif was saved at that time, but Kabul was. And I would come back, and I said on several occasions, I even wrote, even in Dawn I wrote. Dawn used to publish my articles then.
Still publishes it.
So I said, let's give a supplier credit to Afghanistan for them to import, and our construction industry will boom, because other than 30, 40 buildings in Kabul, nothing was standing. We didn't do that. So I support the construction industry, because that industry is decentralized. It will promote economic activity and jobs across the country, not just in the big cities. But the way the construction industry has moved is into elite housing, into malls, as you say. I would want every mall to shut down and turn into housing for the middle class, because they have no houses. वो नहीं है, घर नहीं है लोगों के पास, सड़क पे रहते हैं लोग. और middle class families, my own colleagues from my old research organization, 3 लाख रुपए तनख्वाह थी, जॉब चली गई, गाड़ी घर में खड़ी है. Sorry, I slipped into Urdu.
Right.
The 300,000 salary per month, they have a car. Now the car is standing there, they don't have money for bus fare. So our perspective is that if you just look at the construction sector, you will say, yes, it's done a great job. I mean, look at 18 sector, it's called 18, a housing colony in Islamabad. Look at Bahria, look at DHAs. They all provide elite housing. Where is housing for the middle class? For the last 40 years, since 1977, there is no government program to provide. And the government has said, okay, housing is not our job. We will not do anything. Let the private sector do it. The private sector will only do it for profit. The poor don't have enough money to give profit to the private sector. The building industry will not do it.
So if I were to ask these questions, I think we have viable malls, or viably build elite housing, the file economy, and what role should ABAD be playing for building middle income, low income housing?
First, I should appreciate that Bengali Sahab is very positive about construction industry. However, at certain points, I would like to differ from his opinion. He says I'm against building malls. He says since many of the people, 52% of Karachiites are living in Kachi Abadi, shanties and illegal housing. But wherever I travel in India, not in developed countries, wherever I travel in the world, not in developing countries, not in developed countries, in developing countries as well, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka and other places as well. There is poverty, there is housing shortage. However, nobody stops them for constructing good buildings, constructing malls. You go to Bombay, you'll see a lot of malls there. Bombay is a changed place now. You go to Dhaka, it's a changed place now. Yes, there is, since we are into this business commercially, we put in money to make some money. This is our bread and butter.
That's the problem.
No, this is our bread. That is not the problem. That is our profession. We are not a charitable organization, right? So, problem for the people, affordable housing. Yes, we all think and we all dream of creating affordable housing, but we can't do affordable housing on our own until and unless the government comes up with their land bank. If a plot is going to be allotted to somebody who is close to the Board of Revenue person for, I'm just telling, for 10,000 rupees, or 100,000 rupees, and I'm going to buy it for ₹1,000,000, so I'm going to put my costing on ₹1,000,000. So, if this has to be done like it was being done in the previous government of Imran Khan, they tried. They brought the government patches of land and they said, okay, you build these houses and subsidize this, we will subsidize you the commercial areas. So, they came up with patches of land. Then they came up with subsidized financing for those people.
So what happened to that? There was so much hype around in Imran Khan's time around that housing scheme. Nothing really materialized from it.
No, in fact, honestly, that was one of the best schemes I had ever seen. And Imran Khan himself and General Anwar Haider, who was heading Naya Pakistan Housing Development Authority, did a tremendous job. And the projects were on ground, not in Sindh, but in parts of Punjab especially, because they had the provincial government, and after 18th Amendment, they say housing and construction is the provincial subject. And then suddenly the government got changed and everything stopped. This is how the system works here. With every new government, they have new thinking. They do not want to continue with the projects of the old government mostly, and the people suffered. But that was the first time, as far as I remember, Bengali Sahib will correct me, subsidized financing at a rate of 5% was offered for those young boys and girls, men and women who intend to buy their first houses. And if I am not mistaken, because it's 4-5 years back, the price of the house was, I think, between 2 to 2.5 million rupees, and the buyer had to pay 10% of the amount. The rest was to come from the subsidized financing, and he had to pay while staying in those houses at the same price what the rental was. And those were properly regulated housing. They had parks, they had roads, they had masjid, they had everything.
But how many units were made?
I don't have the actual number, but I think it was in thousands, not 100,000s, 30, 40,000. But I think none of them were delivered because the government could not continue their tenure, and it was at that moment shelved, and now I think they have discontinued it. Even I requested the the federal government to finish those projects, because they have been allotted to those people who can just dream of houses in Pakistan. And what he is saying is absolutely right. I have also gone through a study which says there is a shortage or replacement of 2.8 million houses are required in city of Karachi only.
So whose responsibility that is? It's a profit motive for you because you're a commercial organization. The government is not supporting, and if the government does support, the government changes. So whose responsibility is it? Is it the moral responsibility of some of the biggest, most high net worth individuals? But then again, they have a moral responsibility across different sectors, be it internet, be it banking, be it SME financing, be it auto loans. So who do we say that this is your responsibility to solve the housing problem? And in that process, if the construction sector booms, and we have a lot of people, the day labor who gets their salaries as well. So whose responsibility is this?
See, I never, in all my discussions, wherever, I never talk of governments, because it is the state that determines, and governments come and go. Till 1977, Pakistan was a development state. Whether it was the military government of General Ayub Khan or the civilian government of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, economic development was the primary objective. And in both these eras, and even before in the 50s, Pakistan concentrated heavily on building economic assets. We built Mangla Dam, the whole Indus waterworks, Mangla, Tarbela. It changed the economic geography of Pakistan. Where not a blade of grass grew, we now grow 2 crops. Where there were dusty landscapes, we have cities. 77, the development state died. And that's where the rot started. And it has come to end this. And all the powerful sectors of this population, my grouse with you, sir, is that you, and I mean ABAD and the other elites of this country, you did take several names, including them, it's their responsibility to make sure that this happens. In some years back, maybe 10, 15 years back, one of the embassies was being shifted, and they were given a plot next to grammar school in Clifton. And grammar school is an elite school. So all the parents protested that if you put this embassy here, it will be a security risk for us. And they had a demonstration. And how they were demonstrating? They all went in their expensive cars and parked there, and all of them kept sitting in their cars with air conditioning on. And they came out for 10 minutes to protest and got in their cars and went
The elite dharna.
They have never ever thought about the children not going to school. Never talked anywhere. So the elite is so, narrow-minded, self-interested. So I think what ABAD should do, if I can just come here, and I said this in my speech at that seminar, you should take the responsibility for housing policy. You are powerful enough, and you can also draw in all the intellectual capacity. If there is a high-rise building law in Karachi which is actually a lawless law. It's an illegal law. On paper it's legal because the assembly passed it, but it's illegal. I mean, I go to a bank with a gun and ask for 10 million rupees and come out with 10 million rupees, I'm a dacoit. But if I get a law passed that anyone named Kaiser Bengali wearing glasses goes into a bank, he should be given 1 million rupees and serve tea and biscuits as well, I'm not a dacoit. So this high-rise law is illegal.
What is the high-rise law?
You can build anything anywhere.
No, it is not that. Sir, it's not that.
See, that is what is happening.
Actually,
30 feet wide road, you get 20 stories building coming up. Where in the world you can do that?
Can you tell me 3 examples?
जी
Can you tell me 3 examples of 30
No,
feet wide road, 220
जी जी ये जो
story building coming up?
that along the Mali River, what is it called? Where Ikra University is?
The Karangi Road?
No, it's when you
The
go out of.
Shahid Millat Expressway.
No. I don't know what it's called, but it's called Expressway.
Yeah.
From Hino Chowk to
Hmm.
you go towards Shahid Millat Road. There, 3 buildings are coming up. Ikra University itself is a huge high rise. All the cars are parked on the expressway. Expressway is not supposed to be for parking, because that road is so narrow. And 2 other similar high rises are coming up.
May I?
I am also an urban planner, by the way, by profession. So
but
I
if
can tell you that it
No,
is.
if I am allowed to correct
Please,
it,
yeah.
because as far as I understand,
Can you
what
please explain what the high-rise law is? Most of our audience wouldn't know.
The high-rise law is simple. If you've got a commercial plot, there is an FAR, that
What
is
is an FAR?
floor area ratio. You have to you can construct that FAR, right? You have to give those amenities, and plots are commercialized, by birth commercial, those which are available in planning. And now the government has come up with 26 roads like Shara FSL, like Shahid Millat Road, where you can commercialize plots. Those were residential plots. These are big roads, and government thought it's high time we should allow the conversion, and this is happening in entire Pakistan. But what my friend Bengali Sahab said, I would say that is not a 30 feet road. Nobody is parking a car on the expressway. That is a service road where the car is parking. And to the best of my knowledge, he is a senior person. Roads are calculated on service road, then the main road, then I think it's more than 150 feet road. It's not you are just going to calculate the service road. This is the service road, and this is the main road, and then again the main road. So all needs to be calculated, and this is not being done by ABAD. Try to understand. These are the official government laws enacted by the elected people. Give me law and tell me this has to be done here and this cannot be done here. We'll follow that.
I think Kaiser Bengali sir.
I want to challenge you on this. On paper, you're right. The law is there. Secondly, Ikra University is on 30 feet service road.
Yes.
There's only the service road. There's no other road.
No, this is expressway.
The expressway is not supposed. Expressway is supposed to for cars to pass by.
Yeah, no car.
Not.
Yes.
You can go today. Today is and it's Sunday, but we can go on any day and find cars parked there. A whole row of
But
cars.
I think that is a very much of a Karachi thing. Anywhere there's a building, if you go to Sadar, there are cars parked on the road. We have no parking.
No, but this is the problem. You cannot build something somewhere because it will create a bottleneck. We have high-rise buildings and the Karachi Fire Department cannot put out a fire on the 20th floor. It will just
higher than 20th.
It will just burn. Now, without that facility, we don't have the water pipe or the sewage pipe that are there. Their diameter is called ferrule in technical terms. If you have a housing area which is ground plus 2, you have a certain ferrule pipe. At that plot, if you build a high rise, even if it is 4 stories or 6 stories, then water ratio is disturbed. They put up a suction pump. They get the water. Others don't get the water.
Yeah.
This is happening. And see, I am also part of an organization called Shehri. I'm a founder of Shehri 35 years ago. We have 1,000 files now of illegal buildings in Karachi. We have won more than 100 court cases against illegal buildings. Now, why do these illegal buildings take place? They are all members of ABAD.
No, they are not. They are not. Why would anybody?
I would like him to respond to their members.
This is where I said, if ABAD comes up with a certification system, then we will know. I will not invest in a house which is not ABAD certified. So that's what I'm asking you to do.
You're right. Absolutely right. Why would anybody constructing, first we need to understand what is illegal building.
If you are going to go into the definitions, as Kaiser Bengali said, if you pass the law, then the dacoit can be legal too.
No. What is illegal building? To my understanding, a building which is constructed without approval, a building which is constructed on an encroached land, whether it is a private or government land, a building where approval for 10 stories are constructed, allowed, and 15 stories are being, 5 additional stories are being constructed. That is an illegal, unauthorized, unapproved building.
But a building, if you have the right contacts, that building can be legalized and authorized, even if it's not right.
No, it's not that way. Those are criminals. Those are not our members, and we call them criminals. Somebody who's giving medical facilities to some patient is known as a doctor. He has a degree because somebody who is doing the same thing, trying to give some medicine without a degree, he is known as a quack. So, we are people who have a builder license from ABAD, then we have a license from the Building Control Authority. So, we are doing legal businesses. In the entire year, Sin Building Control Authority approves approximately 500 building plans for public sale projects of our members, and 5,000 buildings are being constructed without approval. So, I am not to be blamed for that. I am not to be blamed for that, and rightly said so. I always advise people, if you are going to buy an apartment, check 3 things: whether his approval is available online at Sin Building Control website, whether he is member of ABAD, and third, what has he delivered earlier than this. If you buy a car as well, you take it to the mechanic, you show a denter whether paint is original, whether chase's number is right or wrong. But when you are giving your lifelong saving to somebody, nobody is asking, because these people who are doing these illegal businesses, they are offering houses at the half of the price that we are offering, because they do not have to go through the rigmaroles of getting approval, buying a right plot, and then constructing with architects, engineers, and so on and so forth. They are not using proper construction materials. There are no supervisors. They are not contributing anything in the betterment of the city in terms of fees.
So, we're talking about the illegal developers.
This is what I'm trying. We are being blamed for those people who are not in the net, and that is a package system. The officers sitting in the various regulatory authorities, they just turn their faces and charge, probably 50 million rupees for 6 months, and building is completed, handed over. Building is in the plot is in the name of Hawa Bhai. The registrar takes 500,000 for each registration without approval. I am not a regulator. Try to understand. I am not a regulator. And I would love to follow his advice. We should also certify buildings. Then people will be more comfortable, and then somehow we will be also responsible for their conduct. I again say there are people who are not performing up to the mark, but it is ABAD's duty to bring in people who are promote people who are performing well and who are and encourage those people who are staying behind. So I feel, but it is such an easy thing to point out at somebody, okay, you are doing the wrong thing. Who has created Hassan Square? Our former chairman Farooq Hassan Saab. And those apartments were, I think, Bengali Saab zyada batayenge, were sold either for 50,000 rupees or 35,000 rupees in those days. So, where is the housing in Karachi except these buildings? Nobody wants, why would we do not anything else? I'm into manufacturing as well. Arif Habib Saab is into fertilizer business as well, and now so many businesses. Everybody is in alternate business as well. So, why would not we like to expand our manufacturing bases?
That's a whole other can of worms, right? We do not have a lot of manufacturing in Pakistan either, and that is a debate for another day. But then again, some of the most powerful, influential entities are part of ABAD. Can ABAD not have the clout to rein in the illegal developers?
I have offered to the Sindh government, and as he said, he has very good connections with the Sindh government, previous Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto Sahiba and Asif Zardari Sahab. I have told them, hand over me SBCA. I will appoint the best professional person to run it, and we will give 10 times more fees what SBCA is collecting without charging 1 rupee under the table, and even decreasing the amount of fees, because a lot of activity is being done without approval. Try to understand, this is a seismic zone. In case of a natural disaster, these will fall like pack of cards. The buildings are standing like on each other's shoulders. Go to Delhi colony, go to Manzir colony, go to Liaquatabad, 40 square yard plot, 10-story building. Who is responsible?
Even the house.
Myself or the policymaker who's been part of this government? Unfortunately, I am very clear on it. Give me a path, give me a route. Hassan, you do this. Our member will do that. But if the government is not sure what should be the policy, I've been asking, give me a long-term consistent policy and guarantee this with legislation, and take the input of the stakeholders, so there is an ownership. Yes, he's right. We have failed to deliver affordable housing. How can you deliver affordable housing when there is no land available? Scheme 33, it's 23,000 officially the land area. 75,000 acres have been allotted by Board of Revenue. Who is responsible? Since 1947, there is a law, 126 square yard and above commercial plot has to be mortgaged. I mean, has to be sold through auction. Not even one plot has been sold. Not even one plot has been sold in 70 plus years, 75 plus years. Who is responsible? This is ABAD who is shouting, please sell the plots through auction, so that we are able to invest in outskirts. We will ensure that mutual funds also comes with us. We will ensure banks also invest with us. The titles are not clear. Why the city has become so expensive? Because everybody wants to, people like me as well wants to construct in these areas where the title is clear. Sadar, Garden, Clifton, Nazmabad, Federal Bay area, Gulshan-e-Iqbal, Gulistan-e-Johar. Usually there are no issues of title. Usually. However, you go outskirts, National Highway, you have a plot. I met one of the largest exporters of Pakistan 4 days earlier. He has been getting trophy for export of rice for last 10 years. And his 100-acre plot, he bought a plot to set up a glass factory. One good morning, he sees his title is changed. The Mukhtiar cars, the MEOs. I told him to check the previous record. The previous record a government record got burnt in fire, and it's not available. So it is, honestly, I'm surprised what we are doing in the present circumstances, the construction industry. We are facing the regulators, the police is after us, the local badmash is after us, the all negative people, the land department, everybody is after us, and we are moving still ahead. Whatever we can deliver, as I said, we are underperforming. There is so much shortage in the affordable housing, as he said, rightly said. But how can we do it? What is affordable? The cost of construction today, the legal construction is around 7,000 rupees per square feet. If you construct a flat of 1,000 square feet, the cost is 7 million. Add 2 million for the plot, or 1 million for the plot, 8 million. Then it takes 4 years or 5 years for the construction. Put some profit in it. So 12 million, 11 million. So is that affordable housing? No. But below that we can't go. Below that we can't. You tell me, make a house for 400 square feet, which I think is not advisable. Because as he said, you need windows, you need proper room for the kids, at least a lounge, 2 bedroom, 2 toilets, common kitchen. So with this construction material, the cost of our per capita income is around $1,900. Here the cost of steel bars is 250,000 rupees per metric ton. In the developed country, the per capita income is between $30,000 to $40,000. The steel price is probably 150,000 rupees a ton. We are exporting the same cement which is available in these countries for 700 to 800 Pakistani rupees. Here it is available for 1400 rupees because there is limited production base. Few families are owning it. There is cartelization. Allow import of cement, allow import of steel bars. It is the survival of the fittest. How I would love to understand from Kaiser Bengali Sahab, how can we construct affordable housing if we buy plot at the market rates, if we buy these material at the exorbitant rates, and we still follow the genuine construction requirements. How can we do it? I would love to do it myself and construct a project.
You see, Fatima, we can talk about rupees and paisas and per unit cost and get completely lost in the mechanics. But we have to keep our eye on the big picture. You said the illegal housing is not done by ABAD members. There is a half-constructed structure next to Creek Vista.
He is not ABAD member.
He is an ABAD.
He is not my ABAD member. Can you please check your record? I know. I am chairman ABAD. I am saying with authority he is not ABAD member.
But you took a name who you said was an ABAD member, and that building has been constructed by. I am not taking names. I am not taking names.
Generally,
and I, as a member of Shahri, we have 1,000 cases on file. A lot of them are ABAD members.
Yes, because Shahri has been filing cases without any reason as well. Because they have in mind, I'm not talking about Shahri, no progress has to be made.
That's a false argument. We are all for progress. But we don't.
You said you don't want the malls here.
Mall is not progress.
What is that?
Mall is not progress.
What is that?
What is that? Mall is draining money into a pit that does not benefit the economy, that does not benefit the people.
How do you say that? The entire world is not?
The world may go anywhere, but Pakistan is very poor. Pakistan is very poor, and we have to have a philosophy that the state benefits the underprivileged.
But then we are talking about the state. The malls are profit incentives. The ABAD members are profit incentives.
This is where my grouch is. It's not just ABAD. It's other the whole Chamber of Commerce, for example. They have never, and in the last 30 years, I have been talking to the Chamber people that this policy, especially since Musharraf took over and Shaukat Aziz, is a disaster. We have empirical reports on the disaster that can happen if these policies continue. Spoken to the Chamber people, I said, you have to take this up with the government. They did not. All they were interested in is how they can make money out of it. We are a bankrupt economy today, and you can't say that the business community, ABAD included, is not responsible for it, because it was very clear what was happening. The whole energy production facility which has created this circular debt, from 2001 we have been putting on record that this will be a disaster. But a lot of companies, a lot of people made a lot of money out of it.
They're still making money.
So this is my problem with ABAD also.
But then
You
that
have a very
applies
narrow
to
focus.
every sector, right? We can't just single out ABAD.
As a citizen of this country, you have a bigger responsibility. And if you are head of an organization like ABAD or Chamber of Commerce, you have a responsibility beyond your own business and your own sector. That is where you have failed.
Even if I
you say that we are following the law, it's the legislators. I know from experience how legislators are dealt with, what under the table negotiations take place, how the Building Control Authority is being dealt with. I'm aware of it.
So are we. What I'm trying to say,
But you see, the point is, manufacturing is declining. You may be in manufacturing, and you took the example.
into manufacturing since 1960.
Yes, but you take another name which said is into fertilizer. Fertilizer is another disaster industry which has sunk the economy. You know.
That applies to every sector.
No, not
textiles,
every sector.
auto,
Not every sector.
cement, fertilizer.
There are about 7-8 sectors which is damaging the economy overall. You know, fertilizer is one of them. Sugar is another. You know, so and real estate is another.
We are into construction business. We are not into file business, right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Construction is good, and construction can take the economy forward. But what kind of construction? You see, you are very comfortable.
What is commercially viable?
Yes, but
What is
it is
commercially
ABAD's
viable?
responsibility to get the government to make laws and provide a macroeconomic framework as ABAD, not as individual business person, not as individual construction person. As ABAD, it is your responsibility to make sure that the construction industry does not harm the manufacturing sector, which it is doing. I have 2 relatives who have shut down their factories and gone into construction. One of them went into construction, another into stock market. And they are saying, why didn't I think of this before? I can sit at home, buy and sell files and make a lot of money.
Buy and selling files is not construction. It is real estate.
I would like
It
to
is
add
plots.
here,
It is plots.
it is the survival of the fittest, right? और मैं उर्दू में एक जुमला कहूँ, पानी और पैसा अपना रास्ता खुद बनाता है. If somebody is shifting from one business to another business and he thinks that is better, I think there is nothing bad in it. And we should also understand that this is not a communist country. Here disparity थोड़ी बहुत रहेगी, थोड़ी बहुत रहनी चाहिए, ज़्यादा हो गई है. I admit that. नहीं, देखिए पूरी कोई दुनिया quote me one example in China as well. There is no disparity.
There is disparity, but
Yes,
to
this is
justify disparity is wrong.
No,
But
I'm not
Yes,
justifying.
sir.
I'm practically sharing what is happening. And Kaiser Saab, I'm surprised when people like him, who's so senior at this position, who has served in various ministries, being advised to the government, and other people, I'm just quoting because we are sitting across, and I always take him as a teacher. When they were at the seat, at the helm of the affairs, why were they not able to make those policies? They were so close to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. I was never close to any Prime Minister of Pakistan. Yes, we worked with Imran Khan task force as well. We tried and we got it done. I'm a proud person to say that we got those done for the poor people of Pakistan. And this also, I'm presently in this task force as well. This 5% financing of 10 million is for those young male and female Pakistanis who could have not bought houses. Now, how to proceed further? We want land to construct. Honestly speaking, I'm trying to find one, as Hassan Bakshi, I'm trying to find one piece of land when I can construct for the affordable housing. Because I spoke to the people from the bank yesterday. They said, okay, let's work together on one project where we can use this 10 million for construction, and the somebody who buys a house apartment for probably 10 million, he pays 1 million, and 9 million we'll finance you, son. And I said, we don't want profit on that as well. Let's try one. But there is no land available which is less than 500,000 per square yard in an area where the title is secure. In the area,
and one that is close to the city center. Which city are you trying to work on this project?
Actually, we are trying to work on Karachi first.
So again, when you find land that is affordable, that's usually away from the suburbs, and then you have the transport problem.
There is transport. There is a title problem. There is a land. One good morning, the MEO, the Mukhtiar car, the Mukhtiar car gets up, he changes the title of the land. There is no digitalized record of land. Sometimes there's a fire in the record room, everything goes, you're standing. So
who benefits from this?
Few people who are...
So those a few people, wouldn't they be ABAD members?
No.
And who is this entity that wants the fires and the non-digitization. Who is this person? I keep bringing guests into my show to find out who is benefiting. I haven't been able to find who benefits, because somebody is benefiting, right?
There is not somebody. Many people have become part of this racket, and they are benefiting, and they are very well placed at different positions. And this is how it is going on since my birth. I'm trying to see, and I'm trying to see change. I'm telling, what has happened. Start from today. Auction lands, privatize the regulators. As he said, there will be nothing wrong will be. I spoke. He must be known. I spoke to Arshad Shahid Abdullah Sahab. Why don't you take over? We have good people in this country. We have people like him. So in our field we have good people as well. So I told them, come forward and let's fight it out. Because if we are just going to stay in our own isolation, so nothing will improve. And I beg to differ from him. We can only help government to make policies, but there are much bigger interest in this. Land is a big commodity.
Especially right now when we have the money coming in from UAE.
No, it's always been a big commodity. And why people are investing in land? Because everyone in this sitting room, everyone in this country almost had benefited from that. Why I would say that? My father bought a plot in on Shahid Millat, Kokan Society in 1950s for 7 rupees 50 paisas per square yard. The amount was paid in 4 years. Our family, he built a house, the whole family stayed there, we got married, and that house was sold probably thousands of times more. So everybody has got benefited from this. That's why people are comfortable in investing in land or construction projects. I have an example. I sold an apartment to a young boy for 15 million on Win Shara Faisal. He took 5 million rupees from that Imran Khan housing and gave me 10 million rupees. 5 years down the lane, the apartment is for probably 65 million. He has a repayment installment of 42,000. Now he's getting a rent of 250,000. He has moved to Middle East.
But I think that is one of the problems, right?
That is wealth creation.
Yeah, people buy and then they Airbnb and they rent instead of setting up a factory or small.
This is what I call a casino economy.
Yes,
basically.
But then again, can ABAD be blamed for that? Because this is how the macroeconomy has been set up.
ABAD has to be blamed for that, because ABAD is a power center. Every association, just a chamber of commerce is a power center.
If you take any of the big bodies, they are power centers.
As citizens, it is your responsibility to make sure that the economy also moves forward. That is where all the ABADs have failed. And I have personal experience with them, with you as well. As a house buyer myself who's lost money because the builder disappeared.
Was he an ABAD member?
No, I didn't check. I don't know. But you see, but you can't defend yourself by saying all the wrong that is happening is not ABAD members, and ABAD is okay. Even if you accept your point of view, the fact is that the real estate sector is destroying this economy. If it is not ABAD.
I'm not representing real estate sector.
The builder sector.
No.
I think you are confused with a lot of people do that.
This is where ABAD comes into picture. As a responsible organization, it's all the ABADs.
Chambers, federation, associations,
everybody.
The responsibility to see where the economy is going. For the last 30 years, it is very clear where the economy is going, and everybody wants to go to whoever is the president or prime minister and try to curry favor with them, and get some benefit out of it. And I've been in rooms where these deals have taken place. 1992, I was there when the GST crisis first emerged. The GST was introduced, 12.5%. And how the chamber representatives negotiated for their own benefit and left the purpose they had come for was left aside. They all made their individual deals and went away. This is the problem with the elite of Pakistan. I'm being one of them.
So you have been part of the government, you have been an advisor to the government, you have been in the rooms where the decisions have been made. What have you done?
See, I've been in rooms even much before I was in government, even 30 years ago, because I was in the university and the government would form committees and sometimes we were asked to nominate, and I have been part of certain committees where decisions are made. I am going to leave that out. But since 2008, I have been in and out of government. You know, I was first in some ways part of the federal government, but my only job was to design Benazir income support program, which I did, and left was rather made to leave. Then I was advisor for planning and development in Sindh. Again, 11:30 at night, I was asked to go and see the chief minister, and I said they are denotifying me because they've been asked to denotify me. I was an advisor. I had no executive power. All the PC1s came to me for final approval, but after I would sign on the PC1, it would go to the chief minister for his signature. If I did not sign, the chief minister still had the power to, or if I wrote an objection, and I wrote several objections. I would never reject any PC1. I would just ask 3 or 4 questions, which had no real answers because that scheme was fraudulent. Of course, it would go to the chief minister and he would sign it, and that scheme would go through. I had no power to stop any, I had no final power to stop any PC1, but there were schemes that I started which went very well. The entire, you see, Sindh's provincial highways are now very good. If you are traveling around Sindh, the highways are very good. In spite of heavy rains, they have survived. You can, if there is no traffic bottleneck, you can drive 100 kilometers an hour anywhere. In fact, the Sindh provincial highway is better than the motorway from Hyderabad to Sakhar. The only problem is that these highways are 2-lane highways. I had prepared a master plan which required divided 4-lane divided highways, which they have not done, but the highways are good. Okay, I prepared a plan for rehabilitation of 100,000 hectares of mangroves. It didn't go through when I was there, but it is being implemented now. I don't know whose interest it is, how it is happening, but it is being implemented. So whatever was my domain, I think I have done that. I was advisor for 3 years to Chief Minister Balochistan, prepared a few things. In fact, the whole route from Gwadar to onwards to Kashgar, the CPEC route, it became a controversy in 2014, and I prepared the papers for its resolution, and it was done. So, as an advisor, as an outside of the government, I could do that. But I cannot take responsibility for any other decisions the government was taking. I was not even there. I was not even a part of it. But now that's as an individual. And I belong to the academia. I come from the universities. What clout university professors have. You know, I have seen my own professors after retirement and leaving the Karachi University housing live in 1.5 room houses with no car, you know. But my complaint is with the ABADs of the world, with all the clout, with all their members being in ministers and advisors to government, one after another, not just one. And I can tell you, I've been negotiating. I've never had that kind of discussion with ABAD, but I've had that kind of discussion with the chambers, and they are not interested. The whole energy policy of the last 25 years, 30 years, which has landed us with this circular debt, the whole industry, individual industry people benefited out of it, the companies benefited out of it, and the country is paying a price. This is my problem. You see, that's where we can talk about individual projects. This was good, bad, ABAD, non-ABAD, rules were followed, not followed. But the real big thing is that the ABADs of our world have not, they have colluded with the state to strengthen their first class cabins when the ship is sinking. Now I want to put two things. Now in the Imran Khan era, there was, again I have experience. I was trying to buy a small house. We settled on a price, and then the owner came and said, there is a capital gains tax, so I will not get the price that you are giving me. He hiked up the price. So we couldn't afford it, we let the house go. Imran Khan's government, they abolished that. Now, that was a good thing which they abolished, of course benefited the construction industry. I'm proposing this, and parts of it here and there in other countries, including in Bombay, in Maharashtra. We have a website, government website, where if I'm buying property from you, let's say from 5 crores, not that I have 5 crores, but हम तो पढ़ाने वाले लोग हैं, हमारे पास तो पैसे नहीं होते. But I register it for 5 lakhs, maybe even 50,000. Okay? We all know this happening.
Mm-hmm.
The third party should have the right to buy it for 20% more. So if a 5 crore property is registered for 5 lakhs, she can buy it for 6 lakhs. And I compulsorily have to sell it for her because I am selling it for 5 lakhs and she is paying me 6 lakhs. Why am I not selling to her? So a 5 crore property will never be under invoiced. You see, this will not create black money. The other thing to do is that if I buy a property today and sell it within X number of years, the capital gains tax will apply, or maybe graduated. If I sell it after 1 year, 2 years, the longer the period, the lower the rate. This is there in Bombay.
This was in Pakistan as well.
In Bombay, if you, I have relatives in Bombay. If you sell a property within 3 years, you pay capital gains tax. So I know someone who immigrated to Canada and then came back after 3 years to sell the property. They said that if I sell it now, I'll have to pay gains tax.
Holding period increases.
So if you have these two, investment capital will not flow excessively into housing. Then they will find alternatives. And of course, at the same time, and this has nothing to do with ABAD, we have to reduce our GST rate from 18% down to maybe 9%, even lower. Once manufacturing becomes profitable, money will flow into profit here, and the profit rate in property and stock market will reduce. Then we will have balanced growth. You see, agriculture and manufacturing are the legs on which an economy stands. Real estate is an offshoot of that. Real estate cannot stand on its own with agriculture and industry declining. It just cannot happen. You see, the economy is collapsing. We are bankrupt actually. We've been bankrupt for the last 10 years. We live on loans. And now we've gone to the shameful extent, please retain the word shameful, of doing some good in the Middle East, getting the world's credit, and then going and saying, give us 10 billion rupees for that.
Dollars,
$10 billion for that.
Yes.
So we are a Kashkol economy, and we have to get out of it. We cannot say, I have a store in the mall and I'm doing great, so the economy is doing great. No, that's not the answer. You can say your one sector is doing great. Fertilizer industry is making a lot of profit. It's making a lot of profit because it's a subsidized raw material. And that cost of subsidy is being paid by all of us, even by this cameraman here. But the fertilizer people can say, oh, see, we are doing so great, you see. A CEO of a fertilizer industry was considered very successful, youngest CEO in Pakistan, but you give me raw material at 15-20% of the cost, I'll also be profitable. The same with sugar industry. You see, so let's not think in parts. Let's look at the whole economy. And yes, you as a business person will of course respond to purchasing power. And I said that at the right beginning, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly legitimate. But as ABAD, you have to look at the larger picture.
If I were to bring the two suggestions made by Kaiser Bengali Saab, register it and make sure that it cannot be sold within a certain period. Do you think these two are practical?
When Asad Umar Saab was the finance minister, we had a meeting at FBR, and he said, "K Hassan, we are now in a stage of registering the transaction at the transaction value. What are your views?" तो मैंने कहा कि सर वी आर ओके विद इट. दो चीज़ें, एक तो ट्रांजैक्शनल टैक्स शुड बी रिड्यूस्ड इन पाकिस्तान. इफ़ यू ट्रांसफर अ प्रॉपर्टी and if you're a filer, you have to pay 8% tax, 8 to 10%. And if you're not a filer, you have to pay around 30% transactional cost. So I said, bring it down to 2%. We don't mind. And if he had given an idea, the state will buy it. So we said, okay, if the state wants to buy it, but then the state needs to give the pay order within 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we will be standing in a queue of thousands and thousands, and the state will be nowhere to be seen.
Right.
Actually, we are not beneficiary of the system. However, these valuation issues are not from today. These are going on since 50 years. So then I told this Langrial Saab, who is the chairman FBR, okay, sir, when the holding period is more than 5-7 years, there should be no capital gain tax. But he insists that this is a business. मैंने बोला, if I buy a property, my sons live there in 50 years, wife lives there, when I die and they sell that, will they have a capital gain tax? He said yes. So I think, unfortunately, there are few economists in the world, in this Pakistan as well and world as well, they don't seem to understand what are the local nerves. He rightly pointed out, there should be a holding period. It used to be. If your father has bought a property, you guys are living there for 30 years, and then property was bought for probably ₹1 million, now it is being sold for 50 million rupees. So, there should not be a capital gain tax. I'm agreed, and we don't mind if the reporting transaction if the transaction is reported correctly, taxes are brought down, and we should also understand up till probably 2000, or he might be knowing the year correctly, there was a wealth tax in Pakistan. So not people were encouraged to increase their wealth. I think it went back when Shaukat Tareen was the Prime Minister. Then person like me has also started gradually building his wealth and papers. Earlier, the mindset was never to make a wealth, reduce it, to avoid those taxes. But to allow people, gentlemen, at least the first time, I'm not telling to allow ABAD members or builders or developers, but to allow my customers, if your father's property is sold for probably 100 million, you get a share, you buy something from me, you don't have those papers on the money on the documents.
Mm-hmm.
Give them some space. That is what Imran did. They said whoever buys a property, a constructed or under construction property, will not ask you, come and buy property in Pakistan. And this is only for Pakistanis. Because I honestly feel my non-taxpayer can buy a property in London in Mayfair, Paris in Champs-Élysées, in Dubai he can buy a property in the most expensive place. In New York he can buy a property in Manhattan, but he can't buy a property in Pakistan. I've been screaming, let them buy a property. They will come in the net by themselves. Then send them a letter. Thank you for investing in Pakistan. Please share your NTN number. You do not have it, we will share it with you in the next 15 days. So you are telling people not to go on the highway where there is a toll tax, telling them to go from the Kacha ways. They are going to Dubai, they are going to London, they are going to now Saudi Arabia, they are going to other places. They are going to New York, they are going to Canada. please help Pakistanis to invest in Pakistan. People say that Pakistanis have invested $25 billion in Dubai. Some people say more. So could that money not be invested in Pakistan?
But does it have to come back in the form of real estate and buildings? Can it not come back in the form of manufacturing?
I offer my money, my capital, I have capital. Please, Kaiser Bengali Saab sets up a factory. Give me the market return. He runs the factory, he runs everything. Tell me what to do. We have surplus money, right? Our group has surplus money. Tell me where can I invest? I have a factory since 1960, before my birth. I was born in 70s. So, we are not even manufacturing 40% of our capacity because there is no offtake. There is no offtake. The prices of electric gas has gone sky high.
So again brings back to the point that real estate is the sector that is making money. Construction is the sector that is making money.
There is a lot of demand in construction actually. As he said, and rightly said, there is a shortage of housing. Now with Dubai closing down, so those people who have money, where are they going to invest? Stock exchange, not everybody is comfortable because people have a feeling that is being run by few big players. They can take any stock up and down. Then there is industry. We are into industry. I know so many industrialists, they are not even running construction related, not even running 50% of their capacity. Why? And they have invested billions of rupees. And I told you, a friend of mine, he was putting up a glass factory. We have two big factories in Pakistan, located in Punjab. Third one was this. And luckily, he was not able to open LC because of those last days of Imran Khan. And otherwise, I think he would have also gone bankrupt. Because if you set up a big plant of 10, 20, 50 billion rupees, there is a debt equity ratio. How can you service debt at a rate of 22, 24%? When there is no offtake, try to understand when there is no offtake. Honestly, I've got 3 sons. I'm thinking since long to set up a factory for them. Can't understand what factory. I have a plot as well. I don't need to buy a plot. I have connectivity as well. I have got capital as well. But it has to become financially viable.
So your point is that you cannot do business, the good business, the kind of business that Pakistan needs because it's not financially viable. Your point is if it's not financially viable for some of the most influential people in Pakistan, then who is to blame? So if I were to wrap up this discussion, what would you suggest that ABAD should do and what do you suggest that the state should do? Starting with you.
If I may extend this a little in response to what you said. You know, there's some kind of a riddle that there was a king who was used to unnecessary expenditures and always ran out of money. So he called his prime minister and he said, I need more money, so more taxes. So taxes were imposed here and there and everywhere. But he still needed more money after a while, and the prime minister said that I can't impose any more taxes, the people will scream. So he said that, look here, there is this river crossing. People are crossing river and you have to put a tax on where people are. So they put up the tax and people paid tax and got into the boat, and later they again ran out of money. So they charged people taxes getting on the boat and they charged people getting off the boat. And nothing happened. And the king said, look, you said there will be a reward, nothing is happening. But the king was worried. He said, why is it not happening? He said, let me go and find out. So he goes to where people are getting off the boats. And he asks people, do you have any problems? No, I have no problem. He said, maybe they are afraid because of my soldiers are around me. So he sends everybody away and starts telling them, what's the problem? He said, the problem is that there is only one tax collector, it's a long queue. If you have more tax collectors, there will be a shorter queue. They were not concerned with the tax. So that's what you just described. You said the rate was reduced from 4% to 2% or whatever, and you got it done.
In those days.
The problem is not the rate. Problem is, why is there a valuation system? That's where you should track. You see, nowhere in the world there are filers and non-filers. It's a Pakistani.
Yes.
Pakistan has, I don't know where else we have contributed anything, but this is where we have contributed.
Yes.
Nowhere in the world there is withholding tax. Nowhere in the world there is advance tax. These are all legally illegal measures. But have you protested against it? No.
Always.
No, you have not. You have gone along with it and saying कि reduce the rates. You should refuse to pay tax
That's
if the system is not working. You are right about all the taxation. Taxation in Pakistan is no longer taxation, it is extortion.
It is.
You know, when FBR puts cameras on factory gates and puts their people on factory gates, you are treating all the citizens as criminals. But everybody is going along with it. Nobody is protesting the system. That's the problem, you see. There should be no valuation tables because they can be manipulated, individually and collectively. What I have said, put it on the website. First right, there is a system, it has a name, you know, right of first purchase. The third party can bid for something and take it. I will never under invoice. You do that for imports also. You know, I am importing this glass for $1, opening the LC for 25 cents. Allow the third party to offer 20%, a 25-cent product. I'll have to compulsorily sell it for 30 cents. I will never under invoice imports. Under invoicing imports is also harmed industry. You see. So now all these things over the last 40 years plus has been put in to benefit individual, you know, mafias. They have to be removed. But who will remove it? If you think the state has to move differently, then you have to fight the system, not tinker on the rates. Okay, you have a valuation table, reduce the rates. The valuation table is a problem. Get rid of it. Filer, non-filer is a problem. Get rid of it. Advance tax.
And there was a late filer category as well.
Yeah, they will go multiple late filers or whatever. Now, you're very right. When I found out that somebody was selling property after 40 years and they had to pay capital gains tax, because what they have, capital gains tax, the purpose, there is a purpose to capital gains tax, is to remove or reduce speculation in the industry.
Yes.
They have turned everything into revenue generation. Yes. Selling property after 40 years, this doesn't make any sense charging capital gains tax. But everything in this country has been turned into revenue generation. They will kill the goose that lays the golden egg, and they are doing it. But that's another debate. But my complaint with you, sir, is you have not played your role as citizens of this country.
If I were to sum up what your suggestion is, don't pay taxes, apparently that's a new one, but also that everything should be registered, and if it's registered in a way that it cannot be under invoice, it would not be it won't be for the incentive for the seller to under invoice. So there should be a system for that. And that as citizens of Pakistan, ABAD should do more. The do more philosophy. So what would you respond to that?
Do more philosophy is the United States philosophy towards Pakistan. However, I think there is no true opinion that ABAD as an industry should perform better, help the government make policies. However,
Sorry for interrupting. Push the government for it, not help.
Okay, sure. Push the government. However, it is not, because we are within a state. We live within a state, proper state. We cannot say that we will not pay taxes. We will fight the system.
This is the first time I had an economist say don't pay taxes and the businessman saying we'll pay taxes.
Because this is our country, no? Because we can't go to anarchy. वैसे भी, as he said, Pakistan financial position is Pakistan is going through a difficult times.
It has always been going through a difficult time.
Let them say whatever they want. call 10 people from business community here. Switch off your cameras. Probably 8, 9 would say. Individual industries must be prospering. However, general sentiments are different. Yes, but at the same time, on the same table, everybody would say that there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities. The role of, I would say the role of private sector in this government, in this state, whatever you call Bengali subset state, should be more. I always say there is a very good model in Sindh, public-private partnership.
Yes.
Give the regulators in a public-private partnership. Unfortunately, the people sitting at the helm of affairs or as regulators have failed or are unable to perform. Seeing the result.
So if you were to make one recommendation or one or more recommendation, what would that be?
My first recommendation to Field Marshal, because then he'll say why you are telling him, and the Prime Minister as well, because Field Marshal holds a lot of authority, so he's more responsible, he has to be more responsible. Pakistan needs urgently judicial reforms. 80% of the problem is because it is taking 40 years from lower court to the Supreme Court, the case disposal. Whether your tenant is not moving out, whether your land is being grabbed, whether a non-merit posting is being made or transfer is being made, whether anything, you go to the court, there is a stay order, and then your life ends. By the time you will come out of the court, final orders. So I think if one thing needs to be done on urgent basis is a judicial reforms, and judicial reforms, I mean, in 3 months there has to be a decision from the court. Then the aggrieved party goes to the next level. But this is not how the investment is going to come. This is not how people are going to invest, and it has to be an independent judiciary. This is my one take on it.
I think at that note we can wrap it up. We've had a very interesting debate between. Oh, please.
There are a lot of things that need to be done, but if there is a street with 20 houses, 10 on each side, whether they are 2,000 square yard plots or 200 square yard plots, the street needs street lights. Okay, that has to be decided on collectively. Everybody cannot put a street light outside their house. So that community has to take responsibility for the street.
But the state has to take responsibility.
The state is people, and the state is powerful people everywhere in the world. So I am saying those who have power, those who are organized into ABADs and chambers and associations, they have a responsibility to this country and to these people, not just a responsibility to their own members. And this is where we have failed, and this is the correction we need to make.
I think one question you need to ask him as well. What one thing, if he is given entire power, what one thing he'll do, which will benefit the entire society, the maximum society, so let's say maximum number of people. I would like to hear from a learned person like you.
I think democracy.
An actual democracy.
Actual democracy. Democracy solves a lot of problems.
So when the actual democracy is not there, is it not supported by judiciary?
No, the lack of judiciary is part of the whole process of undermining democracy. Okay.
So which has to come first?
No, there is no first. You have to do it together. You
No,
have
but
to have fair elections, uninterrupted. You have to have a judiciary that is independent. You see, all this has to come together. It's not first or second.
If you are given one choice.
No,
I just want to learn from you.
There cannot be that one answer. You know, the problems of society, of state, cannot be resolved by one capsule. And when we have problems accumulated over 40, 50 years, certainly not one capsule. You need reforms at various levels. But it has, in one word, I would say, democracy. A lot of our problems are because we have undermined democracy. And all of us, when the elite in particular, myself included, I'm part of the elite, I will not say I'm not the elite. We have benefited during martial law days because we got privileges, you see. But democracy has to come. And democracy includes free and fair elections. Democracy includes independent judiciary. Democracy includes no controls over the media beyond normal law. This is all part of democracy. This will come, and this is a rich country, resource-rich country.
Yeah.
I always say this. The total population of Pakistan is equal to the total population of Indians living on the streets. We can give assistance to that part of the Indian population. Instead, we are going around the world with begging bowls and bringing shame to us. No, this is not our destiny. We can be a regional economic power because we have the resources. We have the Indus River, which for hundreds of years was the granary of this entire region, not just this country. This country has oil. We don't have oil. We have gas, we have coal, we have copper, we have...
I think we have oil as well.
We have all of it,
yeah.
but see, none of that has benefited Pakistan.
All of it is used to benefit
Few
maybe a
individuals.
dozen
Few
sectors
individuals,
and a dozen families. That's the problem.
But see, that then again is not just ABAD; it's the entire ecosystem of elite capture.
I think we are sitting here with ABAD, but I want to use ABAD with an S.
ABAD.
ABADs
all
of
the
Pakistan.
ABADs in, whether it is oil industry, manufacturing, textile, sugar, fertilizer, whatever, I think that there is a role they have to play, and they have played a role only to benefit themselves, only to strengthen their first-class cabins, and the ship is sinking.
And on that philosophical note, I think we have to wrap it up. This is a debate that is endless. I think we can all agree that all of us, be it Kaiser Bengali Saab, Hassan, Bakshi and myself as part of media, we all can play a bigger and better role. But as far as the debate between whether the construction sector is the favored child of the economy or not, I think there is no one right answer. I think everybody who has power, every ABAD that has power, be it ABAD itself or be it some other association, they all use that power for themselves and their members and not the economy as a whole, which is why we are where we are. That indeed has been Kaiser Bengali's argument. Hassan Bakshi Saab's argument, if that could be summed up, is that we need a level playing field with a very strong judiciary. Because even when the most powerful, they get their land stuck and they have their title problem. It's a wild, wild west when it comes to title deed. So I think everybody has made this mess and everybody is stuck in that mess. So it's a very long podcast, which is going to be divided in two parts. I hope you get both parts, part 1 and part 2, to understand the gist of the entire argument from both sides of you. Thank you so much for watching.